It's another Wednesday, another live stream. Hopefully everyone's doing good today. Let's see. Let's get the chat going. Boom. We got the users. Let's see, my lights are a little dim. Let's up those a tad. There we go. I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeVille. Okay. Just confirmation in the chat room. Oh, there we go. Mr. Cole is here. Thanks for coming on. Excellent. Who else we got in the house? Okay. So today we are going to, Mr. Powers is here. Thank you very much. Today we're going to be talking about iFrames. Okay. And yeah, it's going to be exciting. It kind of all sparked off a couple things, actually. So yesterday, a user on the community asked about opening up a blog post in Total CMS from a blog list inside of a lightbox. And I've done demos of that before, primarily, I think it was in like the Foundation 6 and Total CMS live stream that I did. And we did a bunch of stuff there, so make sure you check that out. If you're using both products, you need to watch that video, okay? And in that video, I'm pretty sure I did an implementation of this. But I came up with a really clever idea. Hey, Rian and Willie, thanks for coming on. So yeah, I came up with a clever idea yesterday that makes it even better. Okay. I'm not going to re-implement what I did before, but, time change. I forgot about time change. I should have mentioned that. I didn't even think, yeah, we had time change, this week in the US. So yeah, we're an hour earlier than usual. Gonna have to remember that for the hangout on Friday. Okay, so yeah, blog posts in a lightbox. All the magic happens. We'll build it today. I'm not going to build it the old way that I built it before, which still works, but I kind of like this new way. And I'll explain why and why it's awesome. And so I was going to do a live stream just about just that, but then it got me thinking, hey, you know what? iFrames are pretty useful little tools. And so we're going to be showing a couple other things that I've seen people do. Davide, actually, guy behind Foundation Box, he does a lot of cool stuff. I may give you a sneak peek at something. I forgot to ask him permission, but hopefully he doesn't mind. I'm going to give you a sneak peek and show you an example of something that he's been working on that's going to be launching soon. And I'll show you how he uses iFrames as well in a new project that he's working on. So, okay. Scott, we're going to educate you again today, hopefully. Okay, well, let's get, oops, I just launched expose. All right, there we go. Let's go ahead and, as usual, I don't have much built for today, pre-built as usual. I was kind of hoping to build a little bit, but I think it'll be fun to kind of build it and show you guys live. I do have a little bit made. So I have this Total CMS thing built. But maybe first, before I dive into this particular implementation, maybe we should just talk about what an iFrame is. Okay. Let's just start way at the beginning, right? So let's just create a new page. And let's go ahead, and I'm going to use my Offsite stack. Okay. And Offsite is a really cool stack. And if you have Foundation 6, there is an iFrame. I think I call it iFrame. What did I call it? Or is it just, it's just embed, I believe. No. Embed does, I mean, you could just put the code in there. Embed isn't all that fancy. But I had an iFrame stack. I guess not. Okay. Well, Offsite gives us some pretty cool stuff. Now, what is an iFrame? Okay, so I just chucked Offsite onto this page. Okay, and let's just go ahead and preview. Okay, and what we'll see here is it creates basically an embed. Okay, so by default, I just use https example.org, which if we go to that website, example.org, okay, it's this. Okay, so as we see, it allows us to embed another web page into our web page. Now, there's a bunch of caveats. Okay, for example, you are not going to be able to put in google.com into here. It's not going to work. Okay, and that is because a website can actually prevent you from including it inside of an iFrame. So, and the reason for this is that wasn't always the case, but people were basically like putting google.com in an iFrame and then like, pretending they were Google, right? And then maybe putting some other stuff around it, like a skin and whatnot. And so that is wrong, right? I mean, because people were basically embedding Google and promoting themselves and whatnot by leveraging Google through an iFrame, right? So it is possible for a website to block themselves from an iFrame. So if you ever try to iFrame a website and it doesn't work, chances are it's because that particular website has blocked you from adding them to an iFrame. Okay. Cool. Now, one thing that's a little funky with iFrames, and it has been forever, is sizing of the iFrame. Okay. Let's go back and let's go ahead and just do example.org again. Okay. We'll go over name and title in a little bit. Actually, name is important. Title is just an accessibility thing. Okay. So one thing you might want to do is make sure that loading by default, it's lazy load. I do recommend that because then it'll essentially, the browser will kind of load those resources in the background. That's the default setting. I definitely recommend that. But if you need to make sure that the iFrame is loaded like right away, you can do on-page load. Okay, but I recommend lazy loading. You can also disable scrolling, which sometimes iFrames will show a scroll bar and stuff like that. David is asking, how do you protect a website from being used in an iFrame? We can talk about that at the end. It's just some special headers. You could probably add it to your htaccess file. Okay. So there's some security headers that you can add to your htaccess files. Or sometimes hosting companies are starting to have those options in their cPanel. So maybe your host has an option. Sometimes some hosts even have that on by default. Okay. You can disable scrolling and then also allow full screen. This allow full screen, it's used in very certain situations and in very edge case scenarios. So chances are you're not going to have this allow all full screen thing. It's mostly for things like YouTube embeds and some other services, right? So this allow full screen thing doesn't really pertain to everything. Okay, disable scrolling definitely does. So like if let's say because let's go down to sizing. So here with sizing by default, it is proportional sizing. So you can define the width and the height. And if we preview this here, let's preview it in a browser instead. You'll see as I resize my browser window, notice this gray line, that is the iFrame, right? And so that is something that, it is proportionally sizing itself. Okay. So it's essentially a web page inside of a web page. Okay. And you can have these iFrames. I guess I should point out, like here, let's just do site styles and let's do a 2-column stack. And we'll shrink site styles here. And I just have offsite inside of, the second column. There you go. It works. And what's kind of interesting is, okay, if you notice, the iFrame is shrunk down, so it makes this particular go to like mobile breakpoint, right? If you recall, here, let's just make a copy. Well, I'll have 2 iFrames on the same page. There we go. If you notice, this one has like a gray background, and it has this little box. And then in this one down here, in this example down here, the box goes full width, right? That's because this iFrame is really small, so it causes that. It's like having a little mini browser window, and that triggers the mobile breakpoint here inside of this iframe because it's smaller. Okay. So think of, really an iframe is a website inside of a website, right? So that's kind of how that works. Now, let's say on this one though, there's other options. There's this thing called fit content. It's a feature I added last year into Offsite, and it's complex. Okay. And what it does is it attempts to automatically size the iframe to fit the content. Okay. And so as you see here, this particular one it fit the content. Sometimes it works. It is a hit and miss depending on the type of content and the, whatever is made inside of that iframe. But yeah, fit content's there. You can also do static sizing, which means always be this particular size, or, static plus responsive. You can do, basically it's height based. So you can say, define the height at particular breakpoints. Okay. And then you can do viewport height, which is basically just make it the size of the web browser. Okay. So anyway, we're going to stick with proportional for today. But yeah, there's a bunch of other height options. And obviously in true Foundation 6 style, we have custom classes for the iframe, as well as there's like a wrapper around the iframe that helps us do things like this sizing and whatnot. So you can add classes to both of those. Okay. So that is a pretty exhaustive look at Offsite. Okay. Really quick, I guess. Yeah, I won't go into those htaccess rules right now. I'll try to find them later on. Okay. There are just a couple I'm sure if you Google it, htaccess rules, block iframe, it'll be some security headers. Did you say that? Siri thought I was talking to her. Let me take Siri off here. Okay. Okay, so that's a pretty exhaustive look at Offsite. Now, one thing that's actually interesting is the Offsite video on the product page is it's really old. I've done tons of updates to Offsite. I've completely rewritten it. So this is now the new, default overview of Offsite. So I'll make sure I put this on the product page of this live stream as well. Okay. Okay. So let's get into some cool stuff. Okay. Let's go ahead and let's look at an example. If we go to sandbox.joeworkman.net right now, I think I published this yesterday. All right. We see we have a blog list. Okay. Nothing super fancy here. It's just a rudimentary blog list. And if I click this read now button, okay, you'll see that it opens up the blog post inside of a lightbox. All right. Let's find one that has actually some content. Whoops. Man, am I the only person that absolutely hates this pinch and zoom feature inside Safari? Oh, I really loathe that. Okay, read now. So if I click read now on this particular blog post, we'll see that I have access to the full blog post. We have the slider with all the images, my title up here, and then the blog post content. And as you see here, I have scrolling enabled, right? But if I had in the Offsite stack, I can disable that scrolling if you really wanted to. Doesn't really make sense here, but yeah, pretty cool, right? So here, this is what we're going to be implementing right now. Okay. So here I have a rudimentary just blog list. One thing I do have to say, you still have to have an external blog post page. Okay. So here on my home page, let's delete this untitled page here. Delete. Remove. Okay. So you need two pages. You still need a blog list and you still need a blog post page. Okay. So just as a normal setup as if you were to do a blog. Okay. On this blog post page, you really don't do anything fancy. I need a blog post ID to kind of show. Hold on one second. Let's get a blog post ID just so we can look at it in preview. This is vacation-dream. Okay, let's do a blog post stack. Preview post. Vacation-dream. A lot of people don't know what this setting is right here. Okay, this preview post. You put a permalink of an actual blog post that's on your website, and then you can preview the contents of that blog post locally inside RapidWeaver. or inside Safari, wherever you want to preview. Okay. So if we preview this, voila. Now, what we'll notice is this blog post page is very minimal, right? It's not going to have the menus. It's not going to have a lot. It's just going to be, it's a very minimal thing, right? Because in this particular example, this is going to be displayed inside of a lightbox, right? And we don't want everything. We just want the post content. Now, if you really wanted to get fancy, oh man, I just came up with another idea. If you wanted this to be different, like you can have the same blog post page, but like it shows one way in a lightbox and shows a different way if it's not loaded in an iFrame. Cool idea. Maybe we'll get that at the very end if you guys want to talk about that idea. Just popped into my brain. It could be possible though with Agent. Okay, but let's get back to business here. So I have my blog post page. And if we want to see the URL is /post, okay, in this case. But it could be whatever you want it to be. Now here I have a blog list. I've really done nothing fancy here. Oops. Okay. I just added my gallery, a title, a summary, and then I added a link button. Now this is a Foundation 6 link button. Okay. But the user, I said this entire idea was sparked by a user on the community who was using Foundry. So I'm going to explain this, how to do it with a Foundation 6 link button. And then hopefully I'll look into the Foundry buttons to see if it's possible. Or maybe I'll create it with like just a default stacks button as well, the same kind of functionality. But for right now, we're gonna continue on with the Foundation 6 link button. Okay. Now, in my prior example, that when I built this before, I actually added a lightbox inside of the blog list. That essentially what it did is it created a different lightbox for every single blog post in the blog list, and each of those lightboxes contained an iFrame. I have a completely new implementation now where I have one lightbox with one offsite stack on the page. And then this link button will dynamically launch and reload the post inside of the central lightbox. This is really, really, really cool. Okay. So why is this cool? Let me get big. Okay. So why is this cool? Before, when I implemented this before in the Foundation 6 and Total CMS thing, what it did is it loaded an iFrame of the blog post page inside every single blog list. What that means is even though the iFrame isn't displayed, it's still like loaded by the browser. Even if you have lazy loading, it's still kind of loading it in the background. But with this methodology that we're going to be doing right now, since the lightbox is centralized to the page, it loads things on demand, which is really, really, really cool. Like, this is awesome. It's this way that I'm showing you right now is going to be so much more performant, faster page load times because all of this is happening dynamically. It's really cool. Okay, let's get back to it. So again, this lightbox is a central lightbox, okay? And let's show how all this is set up. So you have a lightbox. The important part here is you have a lightbox ID, okay? We're going to be pointing this link to that, okay? Later on, this links button. So this lightbox has an ID. I called it postbox, and that is right here. Boop, right there. It's called postbox, okay? Then we go, and then inside of this lightbox, the only thing I have is I have a close button, and then I have an offsite stack. Now, the important part here is whatever you set the URL to, that's going to be the default. Okay. I just put the path to my page. You can put the full URL as well. I just put the path to my blog post page. In theory, you could actually leave this blank if you wanted to, because on page load, it's just going to be nothing. Okay. That might be better. It should still work though. But I thought it would be good to kind of load the initial blog post page, even with no blog post being loaded, because then some things will get cached by the browser and stuff like that on page load. But an important setting here is going to be this name setting. So that is important. We need to make sure that this name setting is set to something, okay? Because we're going to be referencing that later on. And that's it. Okay, that's all we need to do. I use static and responsive for this particular demo, okay? But yeah, the important part is this name field inside of Offsite. Okay, so now let's go to our link stack, our link button stack. Again, this is a Foundation 6 stack. It is this bad boy right here, this link button stack. Okay. So what magic are we doing inside of this link stack? So first off, the first bit of magic, okay, is we are linking to the blog post page, and we're going to target the iFrame. So this is a feature inside of the Foundation 6 button where you can load a link inside of an Offsite stack by linking it to the iFrame name. So if you see here, I have iFrame name, and this setting matches the name inside of the Offsite stack. And what that does is, essentially, instead of opening the link in the browser, it opens this link inside of the Offsite iFrame. Okay. Now there is some magic. You might look inside this link and see what the heck's going on there. Okay. So this is very important. If you've never used blog list macros, there are a set of macros that you can use inside of a blog list. And essentially what this is this is the URL to the blog post page. So /post/index.php %permalink equals, and then this little macro right here fills in the permalink for each blog post. Okay. So if we go, let me go back to Safari really quick. And you'll notice if I hover over these read buttons, hopefully you can see the tooltip on the browser. I can't unhover. It's at the very bottom of the browser window, right? Where you can see the path to this. So we see that if we look at the bottom of the browser, it says sandbox.joeworking.net /post/index.php permalink equals weekend-testing. Okay. And if I go to this one, it goes to %permalink equals vacation dream. So as you see, that macro transforms itself so that it's unique for every single blog post, and it injects the permalink at the end. So it injects the permalink where we've put this curly brace permalink. Now, if you ever forget what these macros are, the blog list stack has a blog list macros hints, and this is where you can get all of the blog list macros. Okay, so if you forget what those are, you can always access them here. Okay. Right now, the only one we need is the permalink macro. Okay, and again, you go to edit link, you put in the path. You have to put in the URL. You can't navigate to the page. Okay, you have to use a URL. You can use the full URL with the domain, or you could just use the path. Okay. So there we go. So that alone, what that does is that opens the blog post page inside of this Offsite iFrame. Now, the next thing is we can't just load it into the iFrame. We need to launch the actual lightbox. So we could do that with the Foundation 6 button as well. And by that, we're doing add custom attribute. And then what we do is we do data open, and value is postbox. And this value here is going to be the ID of the lightbox. So here, remember, inside the lightbox, I put an ID of postbox. But what we want is we're going to do data open postbox. Okay, and that's right there. So essentially, we're doing two actions with this one link button. Okay. Now, I should note that normally you can use a Foundation 6 to open up a lightbox really simply. We can just do open lightbox, and then we can open up a lightbox. But a button can't, this particular button stack can't load in the link, right? It can't load the link into the Offsite. So basically I took this feature of this button and we're adding it to this link through this custom data attribute. Okay. So there we go. Pretty simple. And that's it. That's all the magic. Basically, again, we're creating a lightbox. We're giving it an ID. We're creating an offsite, giving that an ID, and then we're linking this button to do both of those actions all at once. And that gives us this. That gives us, a read now button. Boop. And it opens up. Some of these blog posts aren't interesting. This is just test data. So there we go. This one has got, multiple images, okay, with our blog post content. And what's awesome is that blog post is loaded dynamically. Like it's not loaded on page load. It's loaded dynamically when we click the button. Pretty cool. I see Mr. Cole put in the htaccess rule inside the chat. So header set xframe options deny. There you go. Thank you, Mr. Cole. Okay. Pretty slick, right? Now, this is using a button. What if we wanted like the entire thing to be clickable? Let's say on this image, right? How could we do that? I thought that would be interesting to play around with. And this would be essentially the same way I think the Foundry button would work. But what I'm going to do is inside this gallery image, there is a link to post option. We don't want that. Okay, you're going to want, that's another thing. You're going to want to turn off the link to post in the image and in the title stacks because you don't want those to automatically link to the page. Because that will actually link to the page. It won't load it inside of the offsite inside of the lightbox. But let's see if we can get it working. So I'm going to add it. Foundation 6 has oops, not this one. I want a link container stack. We're going to play with this. So, so in the link container stack, it does have the same exact feature. Really cool. Okay. So link container stack, I'm actually just going to copy this link thing, right? So we're going to do, here, let's just copy and paste this. So I don't have to type it again. So we're going to go link container. I'm going to do edit. We're going to paste that in. And then we're going to do open inside of iFrame name. And that was post frame. Okay. And then we're going to add a custom data attribute. We're going to do, what was it? Data open? Data open post box. Data open post box. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag that in there. And you can drag whatever you want. Let's add the post title as well. Let's see. Let's publish. All right, and now we'll see it if I click on this. Boom, there we go. So that's a way if you wanted to, transform the title. If look, I'm clicking on the title, does the same thing. So if you don't want the button, you want to link to everything. In Foundation 6, you're going to use this link container stack. Okay, I forgot that I added all these cool features to the link container stack. Very cool. I'm going to go a little old school and let's show you how you could do it with a link stack. So let's do, instead of the link container, let's go to my free link stack. I have a free link stack here. Where is link and anchor? There it is. All right, link. This is going to be a little bit more involved because we don't have all the cool settings that Foundation 6 has. But let's go ahead and drag that in there. Okay. And I'm going to set link. We're still going to use the macro. Okay. But then the tricky bits are we have to add all those custom data attributes here. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to do target. Key is already, I've noticed with discard change. I've noticed with RapidWeaver, like in order, if you want to use a target attribute, you have to use target in all uppercase. Boom, it's a workaround. Okay, so use target and then in all uppercase, and then you do the name of your iframe. So this was post frame, okay, and then we want the data dash open, and that's going to be post box. Okay, so we're going to set that, and then we're going to publish, and this should work, I think. Let's refresh. Boom, works. Yep, and because I know it's not cached because this isn't clickable. It's only the image because I didn't add the title back in. So there you go. That's how you can do it with a generic link stack, or I mean, since this is just you can use the same exact concept with a generic button. Now Foundry. What if you're not using Foundation 6? So if you're not using Foundation 6, this target is still the same, right? Because that's how we integrate with Offsite. So target in all uppercase, and then the name of the Offsite stack. Now this is where it would be different with Foundry. You have to put in whatever. I'm pretty certain Foundry supports adding some sort of data attribute to a link to open up a lightbox. Pretty sure. At least I'm pretty sure it's possible in Bootstrap, which is the framework provided by Foundry. So hopefully you can figure that out. If you're using Foundry, to open up the lightbox part, you're gonna have to figure that out. Figure out how whatever you need to add to a generic button or a link to open a lightbox. It's pretty simple with Foundation. You just do data open and then the lightbox ID. And actually, this data open attribute for anyone that also works for things like accordions, pretty much anything that opens up, off canvas. This data open attribute is pretty much global. It's very standardized across all the Foundation components. So yeah, data open and then the ID. In this case, the ID of the lightbox. So hopefully that helps out for the user on the community that was using Foundry. Okay. Any questions on this implementation? Really quick, or else we're going to kind of move on. 3, 2, 1, nothing. Okay, let's move on to some other interesting implementations of iFrames. So, I'm going to be a bit cheeky, and I'm sorry, Davide, if you're listening and you don't want me to show off something fancy and new, but let me load it over here. I'm not going to give you a full tour because I don't want to spill all the beans and spill his, but you know what? It's really cool. He did a really good job. Let me go ahead and I'm going to. Can you hide the URL bar in Safari? All right, I'm going to be cheeky here, and I don't want to steal away Davide's thunder, so I can't even see the URL of this page. Okay, this is a new project file he's working on, and he has this little reviews thing, and if you click on leave a review, this opens up a lightbox with a form, and this form is actually a Total CMS form, okay, where you can type in your name and your email, and then you can select a rating, and then you can put in your review. Okay, and guess what? This entire form, it's an iFrame, right? So this just the reason it's an iFrame, it just kind of allows us to leave the complexity off of this page, right? We can kind of compartmentalize this form onto its own web page. In fact, let me go ahead and I'm going to oops. Hold on. Compartmentalize it. The heck? Safari. I'm going to go into ah. Oh no, how do I get my URL bar back? There it goes. All right, so there we go. Look at this. Here is the actual web page that is that form. It's an iFrame, and this all it has is a Total CMS blog form. Actually, it's a blog form. I'm not going to go into how he built all of this particular form. It has some magical stuff that I helped him out with. It's pretty cool, but yeah, it's nice because we have this complex form that he can then import onto multiple pages. He doesn't need to have it in a partial and then partial that out. It's just kind of an iframe that's in its own centralized web page that he can simply iframe into whatever he wants, whether it be a footer, into a lightbox, all kinds of stuff. So it makes it very flexible, right? And lightweight, and things that you can kind of transport around and frame out into your web page. And what's really slick is that it doesn't look like it looks like it's just a part of the web page, right? Really, really, really cool. There we go. So I just wanted to show you this example of what we could do to use an iframe to do something different and to compartmentalize a particular component. So we built this component that we then want to have transportable across our site, and it's a really cool use case for it. Okay, let's go ahead and let's start building up a let me put my toolbar back. Funny thing, because the new unified toolbar in Safari, when you hide the URL bar, it also hides all of your tabs. Interesting. I guess it kind of makes sense. It threw me for a loop really quick. Oh man, my toolbars are all jacked up now. Okay, I think I'm good to go. All right. So another thing I wanted to show is actually Davide does this a lot, as well as Chris. I know Chris does this. And what he does is, let's just quickly build out an admin page. Okay, a Total CMS admin page. A lot of times, what we do is just add that. Let's do a new content. I'm going to extract that. I'm going to build this super quick, guys. I'm just going to do a 2-column over here. And then what are we going to do? Let's do column 1. It's going to be, we'll do 3. And we'll do auto. Inherit just for now. Okay. I'm not worrying about mobile. I'm just going to show you guys this really quick. So a lot of times what we'll do is, let's say on large admin pages, we want to break up our admin sections into multiple pages, right? So what we can do, let's go ahead. I'm just going to load in some buttons, and we're going to do a link. All right. Okay. And oh, you know what? I'm gonna do. I should have done sizing. Do always. Okay. I'm not gonna worry about the style very much here. So a lot of times what people will do is they will create, let's say I have 3 admin pages. Okay. And here, I'm even going to name this all out. I'm going to do /admin. And then under here, let's say I have, let's duplicate this page. Then we're going to do about, and then the URL here is going to be /admin/about. Okay. And then we're going to duplicate that. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to do blog. And then we can do /admin/blog. Okay. And for all intents and purposes, I'm not going to try to build out an entire admin area. What we're going to do is I'm just going to put in some text. Okay. So let's just do text. This is the about, just so we can see about admin. We're going to go to the blog page. Blog admin. Okay. Oh, and then this menu, right? So traditionally what we would do is we would, let's do this. Admin home. Okay. Traditionally what we do is we'd want to make sure that, so we'd have multiple blog pages. This would link to, let's go ahead and let's build it all out. Let's go ahead and I'm going to link this page to admin home. This about page, this is going to get linked to admin about. And this blog page, this is going to get linked to admin blog. Set link. Okay. Now, in this case, I want all of these buttons to be the same across every page. So what I should do is I'm going to chuck all of these into a container. We're going to do it auto no wrapper. I'm just going to go block, select, move those all into there. We're going to do this and we're going to create a partial. And this is going to be called admin menu. Okay, we're going to go back. I have my admin menu. And then we're going to paste that in there. All right. So now at least whenever I make changes to this admin menu, it's going to be changed everywhere. Okay. Let's go ahead and publish this. Where there is Safari and /admin. Okay, so here I'm on sandbox.joework.net/admin. Okay, and if we notice here, if I go to the about page, okay, this about page, shows us the about page, and we have all the menu over here. If we look at the URL is joework.net/admin/about, right? And we can go to blog. For some reason I have authentication to, I think it was when I did the access thing. I need to tweak that. Okay, so if we go to blog, it then goes to the blog admin page. And all these pages, they're separate pages, right? They're all separate pages. But there's another interesting way to go about this. Okay. instead of like reloading an entire web page again. So if I wanted to go back to the home page, I click on that and it would load the web page again. Okay, now I'm on admin home. There's a very clever way to make this better. Okay, so let's go ahead and do all of this. I'm going to rebuild this using an iFrame. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one more page here. I'm going to duplicate this. We're going to call this home. Okay. And just for kicks, we'll do /admin/home. Okay. So what I can do is I'm going to, let's see, in this one. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Whatever. Let's go back to this page here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna trash that. Okay. And what we want is we're gonna load an offsite into this. So let's go ahead and get an offsite stack. Okay. And we can do like so here we're just going to put our default URL, which it's gonna be /admin/home. Okay. Oops. And if you wanted this to work inside RapidWeaver, you could put the full URL. So we could do https://sandbox.joeworkman.net/admin/home. Okay, there we go. That way it'll work inside preview. Then we do offsite, the name. So let's do admin frame. Okay, let's just call it admin frame. Now, let's go ahead and I'm going to extract this page or this partial, and then let's start modifying these to support offsite. Okay. So what we're going to do is instead of loading, this is the home page, and we want this to be, we're going to link this to admin home. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to target the iFrame name, admin frame, and I'm going to do all of that here. It's still going to link to the about page, but instead of opening it in the browser, I'm going to target the iFrame. Now let's do the same thing here. We want to link to the same blog admin page, but we're going to target the iFrame. Okay, let's publish that. All right, so now we're here and /admin. Okay, so now if you see, I have this menu system over here, and then it's loading in the various pages. Now, we still have all the old menus inside here. We're going to fix that, okay? But now you'll see if I click on About page, it automatically went to the About admin. If I click on Blog, oops, did I not configure that right? Oh, I think I selected the wrong blog page here. It's link, page, admin, blog, set link, iFrame name, admin frame. Yeah, let's publish that again. It's page here, /admin blog. Yeah. Right. Single page for now. wonder if this Cloudflare access thing is hitting me up. Okay. So let's do about page. I want to do show status bar. Oh, I think I did the wrong homepage. Admin home. Set link. Interesting. Wonder if here, instead of navigating to the page, I'm actually going to put in the full admin/home. Okay. This way I don't have to publish either. It'll just work inside Rapid. So I'm going to put the actual URL. I wonder if that makes a difference, because it's not working 100% as I would expect. URL. That is going to go to admin/about. And this one is going to go to URL admin/blog. All right. Let's just preview locally here. Click on homepage. Okay, I guess we'll publish again. I think I have iFrame and it disabled on my fun times. Oops. All right, so that's a home page. Click on the about page, click on the blog page. There it goes. All right, so let's deal with this iFrame, okay? So I guess putting in the full URL kind of makes a difference. And as you notice, it's pretty instantaneous. And what's cool is if you notice, we never left /admin. The page never reloaded, okay? So because we're now using this iFrame, we can then go to each page and essentially just get rid of a lot of the layout. Basically, we only have the contents of what's going to be in that second column of the page, right? And this is, let's fix this admin home. And then here we go, boop. Then we go over here. We take that out. Delete that. All right, and let's publish. And let's refresh. There we go, browser cache. So now we're at the admin homepage, and if I click about, there we go. Click blog. There we go. So as you see now, you see the title changing. Now imagine this was a full admin page where, you know, when you click about, it takes you to, and it shows you all the various Total CMS admin areas. And if you notice that the page never reloads, I'm clicking these buttons and it's dynamically loading that page into this iFrame. And that page can contain all kinds of Total CMS admin areas. This is a way of having what seems like a centralized page, but the performance of offloading your different admin areas into different web pages. Okay, so that it's simple for your users. They go to /admin and everything is loaded there. Then we just have various buttons, or you can, load these with you can have a menu system over here. The buttons were just a quick way for me to do this, right? But yeah, pretty cool, right? All happens dynamically by loading these pages. And again, and our project's a little lighter as well, because then I don't need to design this menu system and put it on every page. I just needed to design this centralized part here. Okay. And And yeah, then at that point, the URL is still the same. Okay. This works for admin pages. And you might be thinking, oh, can I use this concept on my main website, right? Like my homepage. I guess you could, but I wouldn't necessarily. I think for SEO purposes, having everything be its own page is probably much better. I mean, for admin purposes, that we can kind of have that app feel because we don't need to worry about SEO indexing and all that jazz. So I wouldn't necessarily take this approach, where you have your menu and then you're dynamically loading everything inside of an iFrame. Maybe for sections of your web page, if you want to have like a interesting little cool effect, that you want to dynamically kind of loading content, kind of like this could kind of replicate like a tabbed environment, right? But I do think that I would stick away from this particular concept for the main part of our website where we want to make sure Google is indexing things and whatnot. But I think it works perfect. It's really super clever for an admin page. Okay, so quick learning. I do think there was, I don't know if it was browser caching or what. Safari's been super aggressive with caching lately. It's kind of driving me nuts. But I did load the entire here's another thing. If you don't want to put in your domain, let's say you're working on a sandbox, okay, and you don't want to have to worry about remembering to change the domain names later on, you don't need to include the domain. You could just put in the path. Okay, and click set link there. Go here. Let's just delete this. We could just put the path. Although, come to think of it, I remember years ago there used to be a bug if you started a RapidWeaver link tool with the slash, it didn't work great. Let's publish this to make sure that works before. Let's make sure before I give you guys the golden rule that you can do that. It should work though. Yep. So I need to turn that Cloudflare access thing off on my sandbox that I did a couple weeks ago. Okay. So if we go to homepage, about page, see, okay, that it did break. Oh, it adds 2 slashes. Hold on. Okay, that's interesting. So there is a little bug, but I'm wondering if we do the full thing, if we do index.php at the end, like put the full path. I wonder if that will work. Let's try this. Getting into some edge case stuff in here, but be interesting to see if this works. Publish that again. Okay. Refresh. Out. That works. So if you put in the full path to the page, that way, that's just, again, a little trick for if you are going to be changing domains later on and you don't want to remember to change all these, the website URLs inside the links, you don't need to put in the domain, just put in the path to the page. And the browser will assume, if you don't have a domain, it will assume that you're doing it on the current domain, right? So there we go. And you don't need that in Offsite as well. So you can actually, here we'll even put index.php. That should work as well. So if we go there, there it goes. Cool. So now we have everything is referencing relative, or absolute paths to the current domain. It's not domain agnostic. It is domain agnostic, right? So you can change your domain in your project, and this will continue to work when you republish. You don't have to worry about changing the domains afterwards, because I know that's a workflow for a lot of users. So yeah, there we go. That was what I had for today. Let's see. Your help with accordion after the hangout. How about this approach? This could work. You could play around with it. Rico, interesting idea. But yeah, there we go. Rico, if you want to chat more about that, hopefully I can see you on Friday. We can see how that accordion, I don't remember all the details of the accordion. I do remember it though. But this could potentially work for that. So hopefully you guys learned a little bit about Offsite and some of its cool features. As you see, I've integrated it very nicely into Foundation 6 with linking via buttons, which is really slick. But I also showed you how you can use a standard link tool to do that as well early on. So you can integrate Offsite with pretty much everything. So it's really cool. If you don't have the stack, super powerful. As you see from today, I'm sure there's more use cases. It'll be interesting to see what we can do with it, what you guys do with it. I've seen mostly kind of more advanced users using these techniques. So I thought it would be interesting to kind of, share it with the masses. Since it's kind of been tried and true for quite a while now by some of the more advanced users. So it's really clever. An interesting way to kind of improve page speed performance. And for the blog list example, that's the bee's knees right there. Super simple. So if you don't have Offsite, go check it out. Thing is $19.95. I didn't even check the price. I think that's what it is right now. So check that out. Hopefully you like it and it makes your sites a little bit better. Take care, everybody. If you're not aware, Friday Hangouts, super awesome. Check them out. It's at 1 hour from now, but on Friday. So make sure if you guys, we changed times in the US already. So it is 12:30 right now, Pacific. So I think the rest of the world hasn't changed yet. So, but with that said, US Senate apparently has passed a bill to nix daylight savings time. So it just needs to go through the House of Representatives and signed by the president. We'll see. I have my doubts it'll actually happen, but hey, I'm all for that. I think it'd be pretty cool. Get rid of daylight savings time. Can you use stack macros for the URL? Yes, Steve suggests in the chat, can you use the base URL stack macro? Yes, you can. But as I said, you don't even need the macro. You can just put in the full path to the page and you're good to go. But yes, Steve, you can use the base URL macro. I think I have a video on all the various macros, and I vaguely remember doing some sort of FAQ on it. But I'll look and see if it's on the community. I think I created an FAQ on like various macros that are supported by themes and RapidWeaver and stacks and all that jazz. So yeah, check those out. Macros are fun too. Take care, everyone. We will see you on Friday, hopefully at the Hangouts. If not, we'll see you on the Weaver Space community site, and we'll talk to you soon.